So good morning to you all. Today we are going to start our third unit. The unit name is STAR. As we are studying space science, an open elective course for all non-DG students, we have studied the historical development of the space science from the first unit, and we studied the solar system, formation of the solar system in the second unit. Now from this third unit, STAR, we are going to study the formation, and we are going to study the structure. We are going to study the lifetime of the star and the reaction mechanism involved in the formation of the star. Then the various classification of the stars, various classifications of these stars. For these classification, we are going to consider two assumptions, two scientific hypotheses. One is from Harvard assumption, and another one is from Hertzsprung-Russell assumption. So here we are going to consider two scientists. One is Harvard and another one is Hertzsprung-Russell. So their classification we are going to study here. That comes under classification of stars. Then the spectral lines which emitted from the source of sun. The spectral lines which emitted from the source of sun, that we are going to be study here in the form of HR diagram. In short form, we called as HR diagram. HR is nothing but Hertzsprung-Russell diagram. And then we are going to study luminosity of a star. We are going to study the magnitude, magnification power of the star. And finally, we are going to conclude our third unit with Chandrasekhar's limits. So these are all the topics from unit number 3. The first topic is the formation of the star. So how the star is going to be formulated. In this formation of the star, we are going to consider the spectroscopic studies also. So the second part from this unit number 3, please unmute. Mute pannidunga. The second part from this unit is the structure. So how the structure is going to be formulated, developed. As we know that the inner surface is hot. The inner surface is a hot core. So surround or beyond the inner surface, we are having other layers. As we have seen in the structure of the sun, the structure of the sun is nothing but the structure of the star. So the inner surface is in a hard core. So surround the inner surface, we are having different layers. So we can classify the structure into two parts. One is the inner part and another one is the outer part. So inner part contains 3 regions. Outer part contains 4 or 5 regions. So that we have to be study here in detail. Then star evaluation. So this is nothing but lifetime of the star. We are going to consider 2 different types of the stars here. One with less mass and another one with the huge mass. If the star is made up of a small, just massed particles, so what will be the lifetime? If the star is made of big solar masses, then what will be its lifetime? The lifetime of the star is studied here in the stellar evolution. So this nucleosynthesis reaction is nothing but the nuclear reaction. We know the reaction is the nuclear fusion reaction. So during the nuclear fusion reaction, once the nuclear fusion reaction takes place, the formation of the star will be happens. So along with the formation, there will be the emission of the elements that we are going to be study here. The reaction is the nuclear reaction. We know the nuclear reaction is a fusion reaction. Fusion reaction is hydrogen collides with the helium, and it will produce just a huge energy. That a huge energy is in the form of a plasma. When this plasma or radiates, it radiates along with some minerals, that is some elements that we have to be study here. Then the classification of star. So here from this classification, we are going to study the different types of the stars. So for this classification, we are considering two hypotheses. One Harvard hypothesis and another one Hertzsprung-Russell hypothesis. And followed by, we have to see the HR diagram. We are going to study the HR diagram. So from this HR diagram, we are going to specify the spectral lines, the colors. So from which region to which region, what will be the color and what will be its frequency. So the frequency variation, the chemical composition, and the temperature difference is going to be studied here in the HR diagram. Then these are the basic parameters. Magnitude of star. So what are the terms? White dwarfs, neutron stars, black holes, star clusters, supernovae, and binary stars. So here we are going to see the definitions. We are going to see the fundamental terms which involved in the formation of the stars which presents in the universe. And finally, it will be concluded with the Chandrasekhar limit. So let's start with an objective. We know star is a basic building block of the universe. The star is the basic building block of the universe. As we know that the star is a very large ball. Actually, it's a very large, huge ball of a bright, glowing hot matter in space. We know that a star is a very large ball of a bright, glowing matter in a space. That a bright, glowing matter in a space is nothing but a plasma. It's nothing but a plasma. So the plasma held together by gravity. We know that the plasma is held together by the gravity. So since they gives out heat and the light, we are able to see the heat energy, and also we can able to see the photon emission light. So from this plasma. So the star is a basic building block of the universe. Here science is based on measurement. As we all know that science is based on measurement, but the measurement in astronomy is very difficult. If we want to measure the distance between the two planets, so we can't measure the distance between the two planets just like that. We have to assume some conditions. So we have to think some theory. In accordance with that theory and the assumption only, we can able to predict the distance, approximate distance between the two objects. So the science is based on the measurement, but the measurement in the astronomy is very difficult. Here, to study what is there in the universe, First, we have to understand what is the star. We have to understand what is a star. So in this chapter, we are going to study the formation and the structure with some properties. So the total unit is going to describe the nature of the star. So we are going to study the total formation of the star and with some characteristics. So this is the objective. Please don't talk. So introduction. How do stars form? So as we know, we just learned from a second unit as well as from the first unit, there are various stages in the formation of the star. Star is nothing but we can consider our solar system. Sun is the best example to define star. So how do star form? So let's start. As we know that stars are like a huge ball of fire. So stars are like a huge ball of fire. As I already informed that it is a very large ball of bright glowing hot matter. Very large ball of bright glowing hot matter in space. It emits huge amount of heat and light. As we can able to see that it produces and it transmit a huge amount of heat and light. The time for growth. Actually, the star will develop the growth, the complete process of the star is takes around 10 million years. Not a few minutes, not a few hours, not a few days for the formation of the star, but the star formation takes place millions of years. So these millions of years will makes to form a hot matter, that is a bright glowing plasma. So the star is a huge ball of fire with, which emits the tremendous amount of heat and the light. The lifetime of the star it takes to complete is a revolution. It's around 10 million years. So the star is the composite. The star is made by the vast molecular cloud. It is composite by the vast molecular cloud. What is this vast molecular cloud? This vast molecular cloud is nothing but a nebula. We can say this vast molecular cloud is the nebula or a dark nebula. So these nebula or a dark nebula consisting of, actually it contains dust and the gas particles. So dust and the gas particles. So the gas particles is nothing but, as we all know, that helium and the hydrogen. So the helium and the hydrogen, in addition with the dust particle, hello, any disturbance? Combined together in the formation of the nebula. So the nebula is the vast molecular cloud. See, we are started with the star. Star is a huge ball of fire. It emits a huge amount of heat and the light. The lifetime of the star will take place around a million years. So the formation, it's from the vast molecular cloud. It's nothing but a nebular or a dark cloud, which contains mixture of dust and the gas elements. The gas elements are helium and the nitrogen. So these just nebula. In a Latin word, we called nebula as a mist. In Latin, the nebula means a mist. So mist is nothing but it is a cold and the stable medium. It is a cold and the stable medium. So these are the stages. We are studying the formation of the star, cold and the stable medium. See what happens. So the supernova explosion will be takes place in general in the universe. So this supernova explosion makes a huge collision. So due to that collision, the collision it's called as a galactic collision. So these exploded particles, the exploded particles collides with the gas cloud. So that gas cloud contains of the dust and the gases. So the exploded elements collides with the gas cloud. They induces a shock wave. Actually, during the collision, galactic collision, they induces a shock wave. So the shock wave is nothing but a tremendous amount of energy will be emitted. A huge amount of energy will be excited. So in the form of a shock wave. So this energy actually during the supernova explosion, galactic collision induces a shock wave. So this energy which induced from this shock wave collides with the molecular glass cloud. So due to the gravitational disturbance, actually we know that the gravitational force is the major part in the formation of the star. So due to the gravitational disturbance, what happens? It will attract all the surrounding particles. To clump together at the center of the cloud. Actually, the center of the cloud, it seems to be hotter with a huge mass. So due to the gravitational disturbance, it will attract all the surrounding. Hello, what happened? It will attract all the surrounding particles to clump together at the center of the cloud. So these are all the stages. So I think there are some lot of disturbance. Please mute your phone during the class time. I request you all to mute your phone, please. So the explosion is the supernova explosion. Actually, the formation of the star is just a cycle. The death star, growth star, intermediate star. So we are having different stages of the stars in the universe. Actually, the formation of the newborn star is started from the supernova explosion. So during this supernova explosion, a large amount of heat will be radiated. That large amount of heat is radiated in the form of an energy. That energy it's called as a shock wave energy. So this shock wave energy again collides with the molecular gas cloud. Due to the gravitational disturbance, it will attract with the surrounding particles to clump together at the center of the cloud. See, during the gravitational disturbance, it begins to collapse himself under its own gravity. It collapses himself under its own gravity. So during this collision, it causes helium and the hydrogen to clump together. At the center, we can see that the helium and the hydrogen are clumped together under its own gravity. So this increases the mass at the center of the cloud. Actually, this increases the mass at the center of the cloud. So it will increases the mass and also the gravitational force. Due to the gravitational disturbance, it begins to collapse itself under its own gravity. So this causes hydrogen and the helium to clump together. So these hydrogen and the helium, when it's clumped together, they will increase their masses at the center. Actually, the masses will be increases at the center. So they will attract with each other, and as a result, they will just produce a heat. They will produce a heat due to the collapse, and it will create a photostar. So the formation of the photostar takes place after the collision made between these two particles, hydrogen and the helium. So they begins to collapse itself under its own gravity. So this happens due to the gravitational disturbance. So these are all the formations actually. So the stages which we are seeing here is to form the star. See further, actually what happens once the protostar is developed, once the protostar is developed, further it will pull more molecules. So due to the gravitational disturbance, it will just attracts more surrounding molecules. It gets hotter and hotter. So due to this attraction, due to this just a collection of the particles around the system, it will become so more hotter and hotter. The pressure and the temperature reaches up to a high extent, So then what happens, this hydrogen nuclei begins to fuse with the another one, producing a helium. So this is the exact formation of the star actually. So with the large release of the heat, we can see as a result that light and the radiation will be released from the center core of the star. So the process is called by the nuclear fusion. The nuclear fusion is nothing but the inward and the outer force maintained balance actually. The inward force and the outer force, they should be maintained balance. Thus the star is born. See, this is the inward force, the attraction, and as well as the outward force, the emission of the heat and the light, radiation. So when these two are balancing with each other, then only we can say that the formation of the star happens. So these are all the stages for the formulation of the star. So with respect to these only, we are going to start our third unit. So this is the main objective. First, we have to know what is the star and how the star is developed. So the star is in a huge ball of the fire. It's in a huge ball of the fire. It emits a tremendous amount of heat and light. See, please try to keep silent inside the class. Manikandan, please.
Sorry, sir. I forgot, sir. I forgot to mute.
Sorry, ma. So the star, the formation, with respect to the star, we are going to study its various characteristics. So here we know the star is in a huge ball of fire actually. It emits a tremendous amount of heat and light. The lifetime of the star takes place around 10 million years. It will not develop within a second. It will not develop within an hour. It will not develop within days. But the formation, the complete formation of the full-grown star takes place around millions of years. So how this formation happens? So this happens due to the vast molecular cloud. The vast molecular cloud, we can call this as a nebula or a dark cloud. It contains dust and the gases. Actually, it contains dust and the gases. So in Latin, the term nebula is called as mist. Mist means a stable and the cold state. So beginning, initial, it will be a stable and the cold state before the formation. The mediums we have just seeing here, we are talking about the mediums. The mediums are nebula. It means dark nebula consisting of a dust and the gas. So it's a cold and the stable. It's nothing but a mist in the form of a Latin. So what happens? How the stages are developed? So initially, during the supernova explosion, supernova explosion is nothing but collision between the two celestial bodies. So it happens in general. So the collision will happen in the universe in general. So this collision makes to produce a huge amount of energy to exit. So the collision here, it's called as the galactic collision. So this galactic collision induces a shock wave, a huge amount of the energy. So this energy, which in turns collides with the gas molecules, that is a gas cloud. So due to the gravitational disturbance, when this energy, when this collided energy, when this just a huge amount of shock wave energy collides with the molecular gas cloud, which contains a helium, hydrogen, and some other dust particles, then due to the gravitational disturbance, it will attract all the surrounding particles to clump together at the center of the cloud. Actually, what it will do, once the energy is collides with the molecular gas, it will act to attract all other the particles which was in the surrounding. It will capture all other particles which was in the surrounding due to its gravitational disturbance. See, due to the gravitational disturbance, it begins to collapse itself under its own gravity. So this collapse causes hydrogen and the helium to clump together. Actually, the collapse makes the hydrogen and the helium to clump together. We can see here. So we are having the just a gas cloud here. So at the center, the process is happens. So during the collapse, the hydrogen and the helium, they will clump together. Actually, they will clump together, and when they are just bonding with each other, their mass will increases. The mass of the particle at the center will increases. See, it will increase the mass and also the gravitational force. So the mass also increases along with the gravitational pull also. So this gravitational pull attracts the other molecules and the particles which was in the surrounding. So as a result, the particles collapse with each other, which falling the center will heat up and form a photostar. So during this collision, they will just form as a huge body with a tremendous amount of the energy. This a tremendous amount of an energy in turns modified as the photostar. So the photostar, so these be the just initial development in the growth of the star. So on further, this a photostar, what will have do? So these will just further attracts the more molecules which was available in the surrounding. Then the protostar will get hotter and hotter. So when it becomes hotter and hotter, the pressure and the temperature which was available in this photostar will increase up to its extent level. It will reaches the maximum level. Once the temperature and the pressure inside the photostar will reaches the critical limit, then the hydrogen nuclei begin to fuse with the another medium, producing a helium. So this helium fused with the just a hydrogen, and it will radiate. It will release a large amount of heat, large amount of light, and a large amount of electromagnetic radiation. So these heat, light, and electromagnetic radiation we are just seeing daily in our life in the form. So this is happened by the process of the nuclear fusion. The nuclear fusion is nothing but it should be the balanced force. It should be the balanced force reaction. Hydrostatic equilibrium state should be the maintained to create the nuclear fusion reaction. It means that the inward force, actually the inward force should be equal to the outward force. Then only the growth of the star will be takes place. So this is the formation actually for the sun, that is for the newborn star. So from this slide, what we are going to see. So our objective from this unit star is to study how the spectroscopy is used in astronomy. So from this unit star, what we are going to study? We are going to study how the spectroscopy is used in astronomy. So to study the spectroscopical use in the astronomy in our universe, so we can start with the general spectroscopic concept. General spectroscopic concept. See here from these stellar spectra. Actually, the topic is stellar spectra. This will be our first topic from this unit. So these stellar spectra deals with the spectroscopical study of our universe. To study the spectroscopical changes, I have taken two consideration. I have taken two example. One, a normal source, when the normal source incident on the medium. This medium is nothing but a grating. So when the normal monochromatic source, when it's strike the grating, then it will produces VIBGR colors. As a result, on the screen we can able to see the colors. So this happens due to the diffraction mechanism. The rays will diffract. So here we are having n number of the layers. Actually, we can able to see the layers here in the diffraction gratings. Bright line, dark line, bright line, dark line, bright line, dark line. Actually, with the help of the diamond pointer, we have made lines here. We have ruled lines. So that lines is nothing but a gap. The lines is nothing but a gap. So we are having lakhs of gap here. When the light falls over the gap, so it will be exit in the form of a diffraction pattern. Actually, it will be exit in the form of a diffraction pattern. So as a result, we are able to see the various colors, VIBGR colors, violet to red. So these for a general spectroscopical study. But we have to study the spectroscopical changes in our astronomy, in our space. So how we are going to study? So as we know that actually in general, the universe, the space is covered with the gas cloud. The universe is covered with the gas cloud. So this only we have seen in the previous session, that when the highly collided energy, when the galactical collision emitted energy bombarded with these gaseous cloud molecules, so due to the gravitational disturbance at the center, the mass will be increased, which in turns heat and which in turns light up, and it will results in the formulation of the newborn star. So the same process, but we are going to study in a different way. It should be in the a spectroscopical way. So for the normal source, light falls on the medium directly. As a result, we can see the diffracted spectrum here. But for our study, we know that when the source, so the source is nothing but an electromagnetic radiation. The source is nothing but an electromagnetic radiation. The source is nothing but a light energy which was emitted from the surface of the sun. The light energy which emitted from the atmospheric surface of the sun, that is star. So the radiation which falls on the gas cloud, when this radiation falls on the gas cloud, what will happen? The molecules, the gaseous molecules which was available in the gas cloud react with this radiation, collides with this radiation. It will absorb the radiation. It will absorb the radiation. As a result, we can able to see the absorbed spectrum. We can able to see the absorbed spectrum. See, this is the exact spectra. This is the exact spectra. It starts from the violet, it ends at the red. So here we are not able to see, we can't able to see a gap here. Fraunhofer lines are not mentioned here. So here they are completely just a filled state. But when the electromagnetic radiation, when it's bombarded with the gaseous cloud, so as a result, the gaseous molecules attracts the electromagnetic radiation energy, and in turns it will just absorb the radiation, and as a result we can able to see the changes in the spectrum. So here we can able to see the dark lines. So these dark line is nothing but an absorbed lines. This dark line is nothing but an absorbed lines. This dark line is nothing but an absorbed lines. So when the gaseous molecules bombarded with the emitted solar radiation, so it will absorb the energy. It will absorb the energy. So these changes we are going to be study in our topic. So this is a small objective. So this is a small introduction for our further contents classes. See, a certain frequency or wavelength of the light. Actually, we know that it's a radiation. So it consisting of just a frequency as well as a wavelength. When the frequency is more, we know the general conditions. When the frequency is more, then the wavelength will be short. According to the Wien's spectral law. According to the Wien's spectral law, we can write that lambda is equal to 0.03 divided by t. So it is nothing but when the frequency is large, when frequency is large, then wavelength will be small. When the frequency is low, then the wavelength is large. So it's vice versa. So when this radiation falls on the gaseous molecules, the light will be absorbed by the gas molecules. As a result, we can see the absorbed spectra. And here, see, in this first case, we have seen the diffracted spectrum. When the light source falls on the gaseous molecules, it will emit the absorption spectrum. Now, let us just consider a light source and consider a gas molecular cloud. So this mass contains an electromagnetic radiation. So when we allow to heat up the gas molecules, what happens? When we allow to heat up the gas molecules, when the radiation falls on the gas molecules, when it starts to heat up, it might be emit some gas molecules which collides with the light particles. So it's the general concept only. As we all know that there are various energy levels. If you consider an energy level diagram, so the ground level is completely filled with the electrons. That electrons should be in the bonded state. The excited level, it's in a free level. The excited level, it's in a free level. So in the excited level, if suppose there are some energy, suppose there are some electrons, what happens? That electrons initially gains that input energy, what we are applying, that energy that will be gained by the excited electrons. Then they will move to some other state. So likewise, here we are having a gas cloud. So this gas cloud is filled with an energy. At the center, we are having just a huge mass of an energy. So at the core, that is, at the core, we are having a huge mass of an energy. And on the surrounding, so we are having an energy. That energy is just transmitted and it's moved in the space. So what happens when the radiation falls on that energy, the surface energy, they will absorbed by the radiation, and as a result, we can able to see that there are emission spectra as well as the absorption spectra. So the emission spectra will takes place in addition with the absorption spectra. So these just absorption spectra shown here. Here we are see that dark lines. So these dark lines is nothing but an emitted radiations, emitted rays. So that emitted rays here we have shown. So we can see that just missing lines. So missing lines here from the absorption spectra is occurred in the emission spectra. So these only we are going to be study from our spectroscopical nature. So studying how the spectroscopy is used in the astronomy. To study the spectroscopical used in the astronomy, we have to consider chemical composition. We have to consider the chemical composition. We have to consider the temperature, and we have to consider the magnitude. So these are three parameters are very, very important parameters in order to study the spectral changes in the astronomy. So here, let's see one by one. See, we started with the spectroscopical used in an astronomy. When we consider a normal thing, the source and the grating, it will produce a diffracted pattern, Whipjar colors. When the source falls on the gas molecule, the medium, actually it contains n number of an energetic particle. This energetic particle absorbed by the light source, and we can say that the absorbed light with the gaseous molecules results in the emission spectra. So that's why we are saying that emission spectra is just mentioned here, and the absorbed spectra is mentioned here. So when the gaseous molecules collides with the radiation, core radiation, so it will result in the formulation of the two spectrums. One is an emission spectrum and another one is an absorption spectrum. So these two spectrums we are going to be study from the Harvard hypothesis and from the Hertz-Springs-Russell diagram. So from the Hertz-Springs-Russell diagram and also from the Harvard system, we are going to study the various spectral lines, but in terms of an absorption and in terms of an emission. See, so this is the just general diagram. As I already informed that to study the spectroscopical variation in the astronomy, we have to consider three parts. We have to consider three things, three parameters. One is a chemical composition. Second one is the temperature, and the third one is the magnitude, luminosity. The first parameter is the chemical composition. So this is the general spectra. So here I have taken a hydrogen. Here I have taken calcium and I have taken on mercury. We can able to see the differences between these three spectrum. So these are three differences is nothing but three fingerprints region. For hydrogen, the pattern is completely different. For calcium, the pattern is completely different, and for mercury the pattern is completely different. They will never just correlate with each others. So that's why we called these as a fingerprint patterns. So the fingerprint pattern for the hydrogen, fingerprint pattern for the calcium, and the fingerprint pattern for the mercury. So here, from this pattern, we can able to study the emission as well as the absorption spectra. We can study both the emission and the absorption spectra. How we are going to study the emission and the absorption spectra? The emission and the absorption spectra are studied with respect to the position. If you know the position, then we can say that which color is that, what element is there. So based on the position of the spectrum, we can show the chemical composition. We can show the nature of the chemical present there in the universe or present there in the spectrum. So the shown spectra here, it's the general spectra. So we have taken these as a comparison to study the spectra of the star, spectra of the sun. So to study the spectrum of the sun, I have taken a hydrogen, calcium, and the mercury. So these are the fingerprint pattern, because the hydrogen is differ from the calcium. The calcium is completely different from the mercury. See, this pattern, actually the colors which we are able to see here is the total spectra of the sun. The total spectra of the sun. So we can able to see the colors starting from the gray to it's the reddish brown. So here we can able to see there are a lot of lines here missing of colors. So these lines is nothing but a missing of colors. As we all know that these spectral formation happens. The spectral formation happens with respect to the gaseous molecules. When these gaseous molecules collides with the radiation, then the absorption as well as the emission mechanism will be happens. So that missing lines is nothing but just absorbed or the emitted rays from the gaseous molecules. See, here they have just distinguished the types of the spectra in the form of a symbol. Here we are using a symbol A, B, C, D. So these symbols is nothing but limits. This symbol is nothing but limits. And also we can able to see the wavelength in terms of the nanometer. So it starts from just 400, around 300. So it goes on, increases, and we have plotted the wavelength difference in terms of nanometer up to 1000, So we are going to see the changes also. So how the frequency will be varies with respect to the temperature and with respect to the radiation. So these things we have to be study here. So just from the chemical composition, so from the spectrum of our sun, we can say the region. Actually, this region which was near the G, it's a hydrogen medium. The region which was near the H is also a hydrogen medium, and the region which was at the C, it's a hydrogen medium, because we know that the atmosphere of the sun is completely covered with the hydrogen. Hydrogen is the main source. So from the spectrum of the sun, we can see the various hydrogen regions, various hydrogen layers. So these D region is nothing but a helium region. When this hydrogen and the helium collides with each other, as we know from the theory, when these two collides with each other, a huge mass of heat will be produced. That a huge mass of heat produced during the collision, which results in the formation of the star. So from this unit, we are going to see only the spectroscopical study. So how the spectrum is going to be formulated, and what are the changes in the spectrum with respect to the frequency and the wavelength, and what are the types of the spectrums there in the universe. So that only we are going to be see from this unit. So I would like to conclude my today's class. So with this topic, so I will stop from this chemical composition. See, if you have any just queries, you can raise.